live off of Social Security. So the myth is I'm only going to live off Social Security. If you're going to live off Social Security, you're going to want to try to delay Social Security as long as possible. You're going to want to try to delay to 67. You're going to want to try to delay till 70. You're going to want to understand spousal benefits. You're going to understand claiming. When should I claim my Social Security benefits? Because maybe all you've got is Social Security. So you've got to understand, when am I going to claim? Because the first myth in retirement is that I'm going to live off of Social Security alone. Now, and I don't want to scare you. I did a video a couple months ago. Is Social Security going bankrupt? No, it's not. After 2034, statistically right now, Social Security is promised to pay 75% of promised benefits. Okay. So that means, let's just use round numbers. If you're going to get $1,000 a month after 2034, if Social Security doesn't make adjustments, if Congress doesn't make adjustments to FICA and to bringing in more funds, you would only get $750 per month. That's why it's really important to understand when you're going to claim Social Security and understand your other retirement savings. So the myth is I'll live off of Social Security alone. But what if you claim early? What if you can't work? What if you get hurt and you have to claim early? You might not be able to just live off of Social Security. What if you need more? What if you need more income? What if you need more for an emergency situation? What if you have a chronic illness and you need more income? Social Security alone is not going to cover that. Let me show you this interesting graph real quick. All right. So this is the average savings balance, a retirement savings balance in America today. This was done by Vanguard. I did a live stream a couple weeks ago about the average retirement savings balance. So the first myth in retirement is that I'll live off of Social Security alone. But what if you need more? Well, the other problem we run into is, look at this. This is the average on the left, the average retirement savings balance. This on the right is the median. So the median. So that's a better indicator of retirement savings. Well, the average retirement savings balance for a 45 to 54-year-old is $61,530. That's the median. That's right in the middle. That's what most people would have between the ages of 45 and 54. 55 to 64, the median retirement savings balance, is $89,716. So if you're planning on only living off of Social Security and this is all you've got saved for retirement, you've really got to think about working longer. Because if you're thinking, I'm only going to live off Social Security, you're really going to have to think about, when are you going to claim? When are you going to claim Social Security? Because if you have not saved enough for retirement, if you don't have enough in retirement savings, you're not going to be able to have Social Security and retirement income. So you've got to really understand when you are going to claim. That's the first myth. I'll live off of Social Security alone. Probably not. You're probably not going to be able to live off of Social Security alone. What about COLAs? We're going to get an 8.7% COLA increase this year for our Social Security. That's great. But inflation's up too. Inflation, if you take out some of the factors the government strips out and you put those back in, inflation's probably more at 10 and 12%. So you're getting an 8.7% increase, but really inflation's at 10 and 12%. Just go to the grocery store and tell me that you're not spending 10 to 12% more. I buy diapers. Oh my gosh. Now you probably don't buy diapers yet if you're getting ready to you're not buying diapers anymore if you're getting ready to go into retirement. But living off Social Security alone is not going to be enough. Second myth when it comes to your retirement. The first is I'll live only off of Social Security. The second myth, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. If I invest up to my 401k match, I'll save enough for retirement. And that's definitely a myth. We talked about this on another live stream. You want to be saving at least 15 to 20% of your gross income every year in some sort of retirement savings accounts. Now, if you have a 401k at work and you get a 3% match for that 401k at work, yes, put in 3% into your 401k at least to get the match. I would love for you to put in more. but you want to be saving at least 15 to 20% in retirement savings vehicles in order to save enough for retirement. So the myth is, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough for retirement. Again, let's go back to the Vanguard survey that we talked about a couple weeks ago. The average retirement savings between the ages of 45 and 54 is 180,000. The average between 55 and 64 is 256. The medians, which are more, that's probably where we're at. That's where the majority of Americans are at. The median retirement savings balance is 61,530. And the median from 55 to 64 is 89,716. So if you're only investing to get your company match, you're not investing enough for retirement. You're going to fall into one of these camps. You don't want to be there. So the myth is, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. No, we want to be investing 15% of our gross income, more if possible. And I talk about this a lot on the channel. I want you to do what's in your best interest tax-wise. So make sure you talk to your CPA, your tax accountant, your financial advisor. Call me if you have questions about this. But if you have a 401k at work, you need to be asking them, do we have a Roth option? And you want to be investing your portion into the Roth 401k option, especially if you're younger, because that Roth option is going to grow tax-free. And over time, you're going to have compound interest on your tax-free Roth 401k. Now, the company's match is going to go into the traditional side. So you'll be putting money into the tax-free side. The company's going to match you on the traditional side, meaning in the pre-tax side. So there will be some pre-tax money in your 401k when you get to retirement. But if you are trying to save for retirement, the 401k, if it's offered at work, is the best vehicle to start with. At least put into your 401k to get the match on your company or from your company. Once you've done that, once you've put in what you feel comfortable with putting into the 401k, then I always talk about going into a taxable brokerage account. And the reason I want you to invest in a taxable brokerage account is because that's going to give you a bucket of money that is free from IRS regulations on when you can use it for retirement income. Because you understand, if you put money into a 401k, if you are under the age of 59 and a half and you don't use the rule of 55, or you're younger than 55 and you try to pull money out of your 401k, except for some extenuating circumstance, and I've talked about that a little bit in some other videos, but just in normal, I want to retire, I want to use this to live off of, you're going to pay a 10% penalty for taking that money out. Now, you can use the rule of 55, and I got plenty of videos on that, but listen to this. The reason I want you to have a freedom bucket of money, a taxable brokerage account, again, if you put money into a 401k and you try to pull it out for retirement income, you're going to pay a 10% penalty. If you have an IRA and you try to pull it out pre-59 and a half for retirement income, you're going to pay a 10% penalty unless you do a 72T, which is a very strenuous way to get money out of your IRA. It's a plan that you have to follow. And it's something that I try to veer away from as much as possible with clients. Now, the reason I want you to invest 15% of your income, I want you to put into your 401k to get up to the company match. And then I want you to take money and put in that brokerage account. Buy the same stuff you're buying in your 401k. Buy the S&P 500. Buy the Dow. Buy the NASDAQ. Buy a good dividend ETF. Buy some good stocks that pay nice dividends. And when you get to age 50, 55, you will have built up a brokerage account, a taxable brokerage account of money that you can pull from at any time. And I call that a freedom bucket. It gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. So if you want to retire at 55, you've got the freedom to do that. If you want to retire at 53, you've got the freedom to do that because you've built up that taxable brokerage account. So the myth is, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. That's the myth, because the average match from a company currently in America is about 3%. So if you're putting in 3% and getting a 3% match, let's say that's 6%. That's not going to be enough. Remember the numbers. The numbers are simple. Whoop, let's go to difference. There we go. Between the ages of 45 and 64, the median save for retirement is 61 to about 90,000. So 60,000 to 90,000 is what the average American has saved for retirement. So if that's the average savings for retirement, we need to be doing something different, because we don't want to be average, right? We want to be above average. That's why you're watching the Your Financial EKG channel, because you want to be above average. You want to retire early. You want to retire when you see fit, not when you have to retire. So if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. No, that is a myth. So always, always, always be investing in your 401k at least up to the match. I would love for you to max it out if you want to, but I also want you investing in a taxable brokerage account. Get some money set aside that you can pull from at any time. Now, I love Roth IRAs as well. You listen to Dave Ramsey, you listen to a lot of other financial pros who say invest in a Roth IRA. It's tax-free. That's great. Again, it's got some stipulations on it. And so I'm trying to just get you to think about putting money somewhere where the rules are not as stringent. Now, with a taxable brokerage account, you will pay taxes on interest. You'll pay taxes on dividends every year. And if you buy or sell, you might pay a capital gain. So if you buy Apple stock and it goes up really high and you sell it, you're going to pay a capital gain. Pay taxes on your gains. But if you bought Peloton in 2020 and it's trading at nothing now and you sell it, you get to write that loss off on your tax return up to $3,000 per year, or you offset it with your gains. So the taxable brokerage account, yes, it's not necessarily tax-free, but it's also not ordinary income taxes. It's not like pulling money out of your IRA. So the first myth when it comes to retirement is I'll live off of my Social Security income. That's a myth. You're not going to be able to live off your Social Security income. Myth number two is if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. That's a myth. You will not be able to retire if you just invest up to your 401k match. Myth number three, and this is a tricky one, and I encourage my clients to do this, but I'm going to make it a myth as well. So myth number three in retirement is I will work through retirement. Now, I have talked on this channel. I've talked to many of you. Herb, who's on the live stream right now, I've talked to him about this. I'll work through retirement. I'll pick up a part-time job. I think that's wonderful. I just was talking to one of my clients yesterday. Her name is Marie. She's 53. She's actually being let go from her job, okay? And she's got plenty of retirement savings. But Marie at 53 has most of her retirement savings in 401ks or in IRAs. So at 53, it's a little harder for her to get retirement income out of without doing some finagling. All right. So I asked her, I said, hey, Marie, do you want to retire fully? And she said, I don't necessarily want to go back to 40 hours a week. I'm older. I don't want to start over. And I said, okay, would you have anything against working part-time? And she said, no, I think I could work part-time and do something that I enjoy. And I encourage clients, listen, if you've worked for 40 hours a week for 30 years and you don't want to go back to the cubicle or the factory or doing whatever you're doing, that's great. Walk away from it. But maybe think about working part-time. Now, the myth is this: I'll work through retirement. It's a great idea. I love this. I encourage my clients to do it. I always say, listen, when I retire, I'm going to work at Tropicana Field or wherever the Rays or the Tampa Bay Rays are playing at that point. Hopefully we've got a new stadium before I retire, because I want to watch free baseball and get paid to do it. But what if you can't work? What if you have a disability? You know, my aunt, or actually my great aunt, she retired at 50, not because she wanted to, but because she had Parkinson's and she had to retire. Now, she had Social Security disability, which was wonderful. And her and my uncle had saved up money and they had good retirement savings. But what if they didn't? She would have loved to have kept working. She would have loved to work throughout her 50s and 60s because she had a wonderful job that she enjoyed. But unfortunately, she got Parkinson's. And so you've got to be thinking, what if I can't work throughout retirement? What happens if I get injured, I get sick, and I can't work throughout retirement? How am I going to supplement my retirement income? Now, I hate putting up this chart still, but I'm going to do it. Here we go. Here's the average savings from 45 to 64, $60,000 to $90,000. is the median saved for retirement. And so if you're working and you get hurt and you can't work anymore and all you got Social Security, and the average Social Security check today is $1,500, and this is all you got saved, again, it's going to hurt. Hey, Herb, $15. Treat your kids to a Happy Meal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is awesome. Yes, Happy Meals. You know, they're like $6 today. $6. And now they have adult Happy Meals. If you want an adult Happy Meal, you want a little nostalgia, go get it a Happy Meal. We are McDonald's people, my family. I am not ashamed to say it. A lot of people say, hey, you go to McDonald's? Yes, I go to McDonald's. There's nothing wrong with McDonald's. Just don't do it every day. All right, so myth number 1 is I'll live off my Social Security income. Myth number 2, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. We talked about that. You want to save at least 10 to 15% of your gross income. More would be great. 15, 20, 25% if you can do that. Myth number 3, I'll work through retirement. I love this. It's a great idea. But what if you can't? What if you get hurt? What happens if you cannot work? What if you get a disability? Myth number 4, and this one is one that I'm going to wade into lightly because the season is upon us. But myth number 4 is this: Medicare will cover all of my medical expenses. No, Medicare will not cover all of your medical expenses. And so let me show you, I actually want to pull up Medicare's website, and I want to show you exactly what Medicare does not cover, because that's easier for me than showing you what they do cover. So let me show you this. This is Medicare's website. Let me put it on my other screen over here so I can look at it with you guys. So what's not covered by Medicare Part A and Part B? Now, keep in mind, if you're going on Medicare, you are going to have a Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare supplement or continuing health care coverage from your work. Okay? Medicare is going to be your primary insurance. The Advantage plan or the supplement will be your secondary coverage. So depending on the plan that you get into, they'll pick up other costs. But let me show you what Medicare doesn't cover, and a lot of Medicare insurance plans don't cover as well. We'll talk about which ones they do and they don't. But the myth is Medicare will cover all of my medical expenses. That's not true. The first thing, long-term care, also called custodial care, which is non-skilled personal care, like help with activities of daily living, bathing, dressing, eating, getting in out of bed or a chair, moving around, using the bathroom. It may also include the kind of health-related care that most people do themselves, like using eye drops. Medicare doesn't pay for your long-term care or custodial care. Back in the day, so my dad's been a financial advisor for 50 years. Back in the day, they used to sell long-term care insurance. So long-term care insurance would help pay for long-term care because Medicare didn't cover it. Well, they become super duper expensive. And so I don't even think most companies don't even cover long-term care anymore or don't even have the insurance available. And what I always tell my clients is I don't want you to have insurance. I want you to have a plan. That's the big thing. Have a plan. So Medicare will cover all my medical expenses. That's a myth. No, it won't. It's not going to cover most dental care. Now, you can get dental insurance through Medicare Advantage plan or through a dental plan or dental insurance. Eye exams, they don't cover that. Now, you can get eye insurance. They don't cover dentures. They don't cover cosmetic surgery. Don't know what kind of cosmetic surgery you're getting, but they don't cover it. Massage therapy, Medicare doesn't cover that. Now, some plans do cover massage therapy. I had a client yesterday who has a muscular disease, and she was telling me that the plan that she's on, she's in Virginia, the plan that she's on does cover massage therapy. Now, it's gotten more expensive, and so we were comparing some plans we just go to medicare.gov together, and I look at plans and try to help my clients out, and we couldn't find one that would cover what she's currently in, so she's going to keep paying more because she needs that massage therapy. So Medicare won't cover it, but some of your Medicare Advantage plans will. Routine physical exams. That's what people always say. Medicare doesn't cover your routine physical exam. Now, your Advantage plan will, your supplement will. They'll cover your routine exam as well as your blood work. That's kind of like one of those ding, ding, dings. It's always going to be in there. Hearing aids and exams for fitting them. That's not covered by Medicare. And sometimes it's not covered by insurance. Now, I did see actually yesterday on the news where hearing aids, DA, is that who, the Federal Drug Administration? They're actually going to make it so you don't have to have a prescription to get a hearing aid. They're debating it. That would be great for people who, you know, you can just get a hearing aid without having a prescription. You still have to pay for it, but you don't have to have a prescription. Concierge care and covered items of service that you opt out doctor, or covered items or services you get from an opt-out doctor or other provider. An opt-out doctor is somebody who doesn't go under Medicare. So the myth number 4 is Medicare will cover all of my expenses. No, they won't. They won't cover all of your expenses. Medicare also has a funky way of doing things, like your drugs. You got to go to Part D. You got to get a prescription drug plan. It's separate from Medicare. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, sometimes they cover your drugs. Your formularies are all jacked up. So just be aware, if you are getting on Medicare, or you're going to be on Medicare in the next few years, you need to understand that Medicare is not always going to cover everything that you have going on, especially if it's a chronic illness. Now, if you want help with Medicare, if you're going on Medicare, you're tired of getting bombarded by calls, you just want somebody who's going to look at the Medicare.gov website with you, give me a call, email us, the information's below, be happy to help you there. We do it as a service for our clients just to help them out. So myth number 1, I'll live off Social Security income alone. No, that is a myth. Myth number 2, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. Boom. That's a myth. Not going to happen. You want to be investing at least 15 to 20% of your gross income every year. Myth number 3, I'll work through retirement. It's a great idea. I love it. Love, love, love that idea. Might not happen. John Gill says, definitely the medical insurance is funky. I think you can take out some words and add in some other letters in there, and people will say some other things about medical insurance. But yes, John, medical insurance is funky. Myth number 4, Medicare will cover all my medical expenses. No, it won't. Myth number 5. So 2 more myths to go. How long have we been going? 25 minutes. 2 more myths to go. It's too late for me to save for retirement. And I love that. I love when people talk to me and they say, hey, Drew, I'm older, haven't saved enough. It's too late for me. It's too late for me to save enough for retirement. And I did a video a while back because I had a guy who called me. He was 50 years old. He had $50,000 saved for retirement. And he was basically saying the same thing. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, well, you're single. Let's look at your budget. And we started going through his budget, and we realized that he was actually putting money into the bank instead of putting more money into his 401k. And I said, hey, why don't we take this extra money and let's put it into your 401k. Let's reinvest that back into your 401k instead of putting it in your bank account. Because his expenses had gone down. His kids were grown. He didn't need it. And I said, let's put it into investments. And I showed him just by using compound interest. And I can do this on the whiteboard here for you guys. But I showed him how doing a simple just adjustment to his 401k investments and understanding he was 50. So he understood that he was going to have to work to about 65. So about 15 years that he could save up to $500,000. Now, again, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. We run everything at a very low conservative rate. You know that if you watch this channel that I run everything very conservative. I don't want to base anything on 10 or 12%. That is way too high of a rate of return, especially with what's going on in the markets today. I like to do 4 to 6%. So I did a 6% rate of return with him. And I said, listen, if at 50 years old, you start saving this extra money and you do this for 15 years, you're going to have $500,000 at 65. And he's going to start taking Social Security there too. He's going to delay his Social Security longer. So you've got to understand it's never too late. Fast Eddie said it right. It's never too late to save for retirement. You're never too far gone. You just might have to adjust your plan. You might have to change the way you do things. You know, you might say, I want to retire early, but you're falling into that median retirement savings, and you've got $60,000 saved for retirement. And you might be like, I want to retire early. And I'm like, well, you only got $60,000 saved for retirement. So the myth is at that point you say, well, it's too late for me. I'll never be able to save for retirement. Yeah, you will. Compound interest. Listen, guys, compound interest is God's greatest gift outside of Jesus Christ. Compound interest. Let me show you this. And I'm going to do a simple calculation for you. Let me share my screen here. Let's do this here. Share. All right. So this, I'm going to just grab my calculator. So this is just an HB 10B plus calculator. And let's use the same example that I had before. Let's say we've got, let me grab my pen here. We've got a 50-year-old who has saved $50,000 for retirement. And let's just do simple math. Let's say that we save let's say our rate of return is going to be 6% in the market. So our investments, this $50,000 is going to earn 6%. Now keep in mind, the stock market has averaged 10% since 1950. It's averaged 8% with inflation. So we're going to say 6% because I think the next decade is going to be a little lower. All right. That's just my hunch. If we're above 6%, we'll high five and chest bump. But I think we're going to be right about 6%. Okay. And let's say this person puts in $2,000 a month. And I know that's a lot of money, but you got to think about it. Like I don't want to work forever. Do you want to work in retirement? Would love for you to work in retirement, part-time job, but I don't want you to have to put in 40, 50 hours at 65 and 70 unless you want to, unless you enjoy. I got a client down in Fort Lauderdale. He's 72 years old. He works at a rental company. He works his tail off, but he loves it. He loves it. And that's the difference. I don't want you to do it unless you love it. So let's do this. $50,000 a year. So that's what we've got saved. I don't know if you can see that. $50,000 a year. We're going to put in, whoops, not 5,000, 50,000. 50,000. We're going to put in $2,000 per month. So $2,000 a month is what our payment's going to be. That's what we're going to invest to get the 6%. We're going to earn 6% a year. And let's say we got to do this for 15 years. So let's just go to 65 because we got to have some running room, right? You got to have time for compound interest to work. So let's say 15 years. At the end of 15 years, okay, this person would have $458,000. That's earning 6% a year, put in $2,000 a month, starting at $50,000. And I would say that's pretty darn good. So at 65 years old, you've got $458,000. Maybe you try to work an extra 2 years, get to your full Social Security. You can work part-time. You can do something, but it's never too late. The myth is it's too late for me to save for retirement. No, it's not. It's not too late as long as you start. Start now. Just start. I always say save, contribute, and invest. You save for emergencies. You contribute to your retirement accounts and you invest. Do those three things: save, invest, and contribute, and you can retire. It might not be the retirement that you see on YouTube. There's a lot of, I'm going to retire in Portugal. It might not be that. You might retire at 65 in Middlesboro, Tennessee. It's a great place. I used to go to basketball camp in Middlesboro, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee State University there. But that's okay. That's you. You've got to live your retirement dream the way you want to live your retirement dream. And it has to be flexible. It has to be flexible. So that's at 6%. What if we got 8%? What if the market over the next 15 years did what it averaged? So let's do 8%. Now we're at 526. 526. Oh, you can't see that. $526,000. So it's great. So just investing. Listen, remember, the myth is it's too late for me to save for retirement. I'm showing you at 50, we've got $50,000 saved. We're going to put in $2,000 a month because we're going to do the work that it takes to retire. Because the YOLO lifestyle, right? You only live once. And that's what people say when they think, like, I'm going to Bermuda. I'm going to run up my credit card. I'm going to do whatever. YOLO, I don't live once. Yeah, you only retire once too, hopefully. And so we only want you to retire once. So $50,000 a year, putting in $2,000 a month, earning 6% a year, you got $458,000. If you earn 8%, it's $526,000. So can I retire if I haven't saved enough? If I feel like I haven't saved enough? Yeah, you can. You can. Yes, you can. But you got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. You got to save more. You got to understand when you're going to take Social Security, and you've got to put in the work. Okay. So myth number 5, it's too late for me to save for retirement. That is a myth. You can do it. I promise you, I have seen it. I would be happy to work with you through it. All the information is below to get in touch with me. Would love to help you. Now, 6 myths. Myth number 1, I'll live off Social Security. That's a myth. You're not going to live only off your Social Security. You're going to live with your Social Security and retirement income. Myth number 2, if I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. That's a myth. You want to invest at least 15% of your gross income, more if possible. If you're younger and you don't feel like you've got enough to invest, just start with something. Just start where you are. If you got a 401k, you get a company match, at least invest up to the match and increase it from there. Get a budget. It's really, really important for you to invest because listen, I'm 36. I'll be 37 in December. 17 years ago, I was 20 and I was working at a golf course, cleaning golf carts, not married, enjoying college. I went to the University of South Florida, enjoying college. 17 years later, it feels like a flash. 37 years old, I got 3 kids, 2 dogs, a growing business, and in 13 years, I'll be 50. It's crazy, and it goes by fast. So you want to start saving now. Myth number 3 is I'll work through retirement. That's a great idea. I love that idea. I want you to work through retirement. But what if you can't? You got to have a plan for that. You need a plan for it. Medicare will cover all my expenses. That's a huge myth. No, it won't. No, it won't, especially long-term care. And 2 out of 3 individuals, a recent study by ING, or I guess it's Voya now, was ING way back in the day, said that 2 out of 3 individuals will need some sort of assisted care. Might be at your house, might be at a facility, might be whatever. 2 out of 3 will need it, and that's not covered by Medicare. Number 5, it's too late for me to save for retirement. We just showed you that. I just showed you. Look at this. It's not too late for you to save for retirement. 15 years of saving $2,000, you got $458,000 at 65. If you make 8%, you got $526. If you work a couple more years, this only compounds. You get Social Security and bam, you're off to the races. So it's not too late for you to save for retirement. And myth number 6, and this is the one that I'm gonna tread lightly on a couple of these. So this is the last one I'll tread lightly. Let me say this too. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. We're going to do a question and answer here in about, I do a 45-minute live stream. I got 10 minutes left. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments. Myth number 6 is I can do it all on my own. I can do this all on my own. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I believe in financial education. It should start in the high schools. I love doing YouTube. I love educating you guys and helping you with your financial decisions. There's a lot of great channels on YouTube. There's a lot of great resources out there to learn about investing, to learn about retirement income, and retirement planning. But a survey done by Transamerica on retirees, and I talked about this on a live stream, but I didn't go through this part of it. But a survey of retirees said that 4 out of 10 said that they worked with a financial planner. 6 out of 10 did not and wish they had. Now, I'm not telling you to work with me. I'm not telling you to work with somebody. What I'm saying is 6 out of 10 retirees wish they had worked with somebody, just anybody. And so I think it's like a circle. It's your CPA, it's your estate attorney, or a tax accountant, it's your financial advisor, it's the person at Fidelity, it's the person at Vanguard. Talk to somebody. Get some sort of financial plan, whether it's an EKG with me, whether it's through Fidelity, through Vanguard, through your 401k, get some sort of plan. The myth is I can do it all on my own. Listen, we just had a hurricane and I had to get up on the roof after the hurricane to work on it because trying to find a roofer in Florida right now, they're all in Fort Myers, okay? You ain't finding them here in Tampa. They're all in Fort Myers. So I got up there on the roof to do it on my own. And I came down and I was covered in tar, and I was just scraped up. I had all kinds. It was bad. I'm not a roofer. I should not be on a roof. So the analogy is I can do it on my own. I should have hired somebody. I should have just been patient and waited. But with your financial life, you only get to retire once. Make sure that you have a solid plan. Okay, that's the only thing I'm going to say about that anymore because I don't want to feel like I'm trying to get you to come to me. I'm just saying I want you to have some sort of plan. Work with somebody, CPAs, estate attorneys, and somebody from a financial standpoint that you can put a plan together with. So the myths, I live off my Social Security income. That's number 1. The second myth is if I invest into my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. Myth number 3, I'll work through retirement. Myth number 4, Medicare will cover all my medical expenses. Myth number 5, it's too late for me to save for retirement. And myth number 6 is I can do it all on my own. Okay. Now, if you joined me late, go back, check out the live stream, see the other myths. You can retire, but make sure you're not falling into these myths. Let me look at some questions here. Drew, I clear $1,000 per month regarding income minus expenses. Let's see. Okay, Drew, I clear $1,000 a month regarding income minus expenses. Is that enough, or should I be concerned? So you're clearing $1,000. I mean, I would say that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that that's on here. That's a tough question, but I would say that if you're clearing any money in retirement, that's great. I'm actually working on a video that's going up next week talking about how much you actually save in retirement. I wish I had the notes. All right, I'd read it to you. I don't know where the notes are at right now. I was working on it this morning, but it's a high number of individuals actually save money in retirement. So if you're clearing any money in retirement, that's great. So if you're retired and income minus the expenses, you have some money left over, you've got a good emergency fund, be thinking about investing that back into that taxable brokerage account. With interest rates where they're at today, you can get treasury bonds if you want to keep that money safe. Money markets. I know that Marcus by Goldman Sachs has a really high money market. Be putting that money to work. Don't just sit in your bank account there and zero. Put that money to work. Okay. Other questions or concerns, or I will let us go. Remember, the 6 myths. I'm from Kentucky, so sometimes I have trouble speaking English right. The 6 myths about retirement. I live off of Social Security. I'll live off my Social Security income. If I invest up to my 401k match, I'll have enough to retire. I'll work through retirement. Medicare will cover all my medical expenses. It's too late for me to save for retirement, and I can do it on my own. Those are the myths. Let's see. Geo Pepsi says, could you add to the Medicare myth? Not all of Medicare is free. Correct. Could you add to the Medicare? Not all Medicare is free. Part B premium is free. That's true. You pay out of your Social Security check. You pay a premium for that. Medicare Part B, which covers your doctors, things like that. Medicare Part A is your hospital coverage. Medicare Part B covers your doctors. That you pay, I don't even know what the Medicare, I think it was like 140, right? Medicare Part B premium. Let's see what that is. Does anybody know on here? I can't find it on YouTube. I'm sorry, on YouTube. Oh, $164.90 is what it's going to be in 2033 or 2023. So 164 is your Medicare Part B premium. And that can increase. It's called an IRMA tax. So if you make too much income in retirement, they actually, Social Security will actually take more out of your check. So they kind of like penalize you for making more money in retirement. They take more out of your check for your Part B. So yes, not all Medicare is free. If you have a supplement with Medicare, like Medicare is your original Medicare, and you get a Medicare supplement, you pay for that. You pay for that out of your retirement income. Most Medicare Advantage plans are free, but there's co-pays and deductibles in that. So there's always money going out for healthcare. Always, always, always. So Geo Pepsi, thank you so much. Great reminder for us. All right, guys. If no other questions, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great Wednesday. It's freezing here in Florida. It is still overcast. Whoever lives up north, y'all sent the cold weather down here, because I woke up this morning and it was like 50 degrees. And I know you probably are like, that's hot. I'm in Michigan. But man, in Florida, I had to pull out a sweatshirt, and I got to find some long underwear. They don't sell that down here in Florida. So, hey, Hope, thank you so much for coming. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.